Does your life even matter? There are 7.3 billion people in this world, or more. There are hundreds or maybe even thousands of people who go to your school or your workplace or just your community. Like, does your life even really matter? You know, when I think about me back then, in this world where I felt like my whole goal was to feel the significance, to feel this, I had this desire for people to accept me for who I was, to like me, to make me feel good enough, make me feel significant, like that I mattered. And growing up, it was difficult. It was difficult because I never really got that acceptance that like, hey, you matter, Richard, from my parents, the people who are most closely associated with that do we matter feeling. So, do you matter? And the question, or the answer rather, is I think yes. The answer is yes. But a lot of things in our lives make us feel like we don't matter. Maybe it's our parents who kind of neglect or just don't really talk to us or don't make us feel special. Maybe it's our friends that we're not really connected with. Maybe it's our peers at school or wherever it is that just make us feel like we're so isolated and that we don't really matter. We're just one person in this huge society of people. So why do we even matter? As I was thinking about this question, I started thinking about like, how have I become a source of matter? Like, why do I matter myself? I wake up in the morning and I do a lot of my work by myself in my room, so I don't talk to a lot of people, and which is okay. It's perfect. I'll explain a little bit why later. But I wake up in the morning and sometimes I feel unmotivated and I wonder, do I even matter? And it's funny because, you know, I receive all these comments and praise from people like, oh, Richard, dude, thank you so much for sharing this video or that video. You know, that video really changed my life, and now I'm doing this and that. Or, you know, people come up and talk to me afterwards, and I've heard people shout like, oh, dude, Richard, I saw you at the other speech. You know, like, you really changed my life. And first of all, we can't change other people's lives. They change their own. We can only be the catalyst, that opportunity that allows other people to shift. But I hate talking about myself sometimes. Like, I don't say this to brag, but like, I say this as a reminder that yes, we do matter. The little things, and also I'm making this video of do you matter for myself as well, because I want to remind myself that yes, I do matter, because oftentimes I feel the same way. I feel like I don't matter, even though I'm doing all these things. And now maybe you're thinking like, oh, dude, Richard, you feel like you don't matter? Look at all the things you're doing. How, if you don't feel like you matter, how could I feel like I matter? And the thing is, each one of us, we all have our own individual lives. Like, we all have our different perspectives, and you know, some people don't really have a problem feeling if they matter or not, because they were raised a certain way, and you know, their parents were kind and they showed compassion and care, everything like that, and they gave them the proper attention in the right way that they needed to make them feel like they mattered. While for I think for the vast majority of us, many of us, you know, we didn't have that luxury of feeling like we mattered growing up. So, do you matter? Yes. Here's another small example why. And maybe you're not in this specific example, but it's about getting into this example. So, Blake is a subscriber of mine. He's been messaging me back and forth, talking to me about how, like, you know, he feels really sad, depressed, and he's not very motivated in his life. And you know, part of him I could relate with, and I'm sure he's had feelings, or you, Blake, have had feelings of like, you know, my life doesn't really matter. Like, why am I even here on this earth? Like, this world is hopeless. But Blake matters. Why? Okay, I'm just gonna say he matters to me because whenever I see Blake make these small little decisions of like, you know what, you know, my life kind of sucks right now, but you know what, because of you, Richard, I'm going to make this small little decision to make my life a little bit better. And that little bit of like push, even though maybe it's not sustained, but that little bit of effort to do something in this one moment is inspiring to me, because it reminds me that's exactly how I got to where I am today. And that's for multiple reasons. One, because that little bit of push was what got me out of my own slump. into where I am today, which is not as deep of a slump. It's better. And also it reminds me that like other people, I've been inspired by so many other people by watching people, go from nothing to successful. They've gone from like, sleeping on my sister's couch to best-selling New York Times author Lewis Howes, and just so many other people that I've had the privilege to like become friends with, or just know in person or read articles about, which is good enough for me. So let's go back to the question: do you matter? Yeah, I could answer yes, but why? Why do you matter? You matter, and maybe you don't see it in this moment, but your little actions of you trying to get over this challenge is really inspiring to other people. And maybe you don't have that audience to inspire right now, but the more you go through this challenge, the more you will. Now, I want to wrap up. I want to include this tiny little bit, and I just thought about this, and if you feel like, so here's a quote. If you tweet it out or something, it's probably too long to tweet. If you feel like your life doesn't matter, that is exactly why your life matters. I'm going to say that again. If you feel like your life doesn't matter, that is exactly why your life matters. Let me explain a little bit what that means. If you feel like your life doesn't matter, then you have this huge challenge burden of like, oh dude, my life sucks. It is what it is. It sucks. My life is hopeless. But if you make a decision like, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. I'm fat, I'm overweight, obese. I'm going to go out today and just go for a 5-minute walk. Like something small. The amount of mental discipline it takes to even just step outside the door, put your shoes on is a lot more inspiring than someone who's already motivated to go outside and go for a 10-minute walk. Why? Because they're already used to that. You are in a challenging situation where you have all this challenge and self-doubt and things that you have to get across and say, hey, that part, you shut up. Like, you don't talk to me right now. I'm gonna go for a 5-minute walk. It takes so much effort to do that. So appreciate yourself, acknowledge yourself, don't beat yourself up, and recognize that if you're a person who feels like your life doesn't matter, that is exactly why your life matters. I hope that makes sense a little bit. Anyway, much love to all of you who, everyone in general, but especially those people who are kind of struggling and feel like their lives don't matter, because I feel you, and I'm trying to inspire myself from a third-person perspective to remind myself that yes, my life matters, and that I don't have to constantly feel like my life doesn't matter, because it's a constant battle, and this is why I do the work I do. This is why I make YouTube videos every single week, and thank you all. If you're on YouTube and you haven't already, please subscribe. If you're on somewhere else, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, share this video, like it, and please keep it going. Right now, this is attached to my name, Richard Kuo Live. However, I want to kind of expand this and really turn all of you and all of us into a community where we can support each other. So it's not just about me giving you information, it's really about us having conversations with each other. So look forward to an upcoming community that I'm working on building with some other people around self-worth, all right? Other than that, just see you next week. Take care. Much love. Peace. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gents? This is Richard Kuo. This week, I want to talk about the key to happiness. I think we spend a lot of time worrying, complaining, and feeling sorry for ourselves. And sometimes we forget, like, what is the most important things in our lives. I think there's a gap. And the gap between us and our